Hello and welcome to the Gathering in Real Life podcast. I'm your host, Melody, and I am joined with two people from the Gathering. Woo! Introduce yourselves.
Okay, I'm Catrionia. I'm a junior at Lee Summit North.
I'm Monica, also a junior, also good at Lee Summit North.
Yay!
Yo.
Okay, well, today we're going to talk about how to have God-centered friendships. So, because of that topic, I wanted to ask them if they had a funny story about their friendship. And I haven't heard this one yet, so I'm ready.
Okay, so freshman year, you're going to your high school's football game.
I'm going to my...
No, we
you
are.
are.
You're going to our high school's football game. We're going to go sit in the freshman section, and we're going to have a good time.
Yes.
But freshmen... Your parents drop you off.
We can't drive.
Your parents drop you off really kind. You get out. You have a great time at the game.
Right.
And then you leave. Your parents, they have to pick you up. So, and if it's your dad, like, he parks really far away. So you have quite the trek to make. And you are just trekking, and you're like, oh my gosh, there it is. There he is. There he is.
Are you guys both together at that point?
Just us two. No, just us two. And we're going to my dad's car. We... open it up. I get in.
She gets in the front seat.
I get in the front seat.
I'm in the back seat.
I say, hey, Dad. It's not my dad. Like, we look over and it's like a random man. And he's like, hi. And then I said, no, I didn't realize. I was like, what? And
I was like, what? What's
and
wrong?
I'm like, no, it's not Keith Winger. So then we got out and we ran to find my dad.
Did you cry? I would have cried.
No, but like he could have drove it away.
Driven away
with us in there.
Yeah, but he didn't.
Is that the funniest story you guys have together?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, so I thought it would be really cool. We've been calling this Bestie Pod. That's what we've been preparing for. But anyways, I thought it would be cool for them to talk about their friendship and how they have kept God in the center. So share your story with us.
Okay, so first off, we didn't have God in the center, mainly because we didn't have God in the center of our own lives. So like when you start a friendship with like not having God as the center of it, it's hard to like build up to that. But anyways, a little history on us. We became friends in 8th grade at our friend's birthday party. We first met, and we were just pretty good friends. And then freshman year, I moved to her neighborhood. Like, we live a few houses away. So it really just, we became great friends. And then Monica brought me to the Gathering.
Yay!
Love you, Gathering. And I started kind of following Jesus. We were both kind of growing, but we weren't like, we would go to church together every week and go to Bible study, but we wouldn't like talk about anything. Like we would drive there together, but it just wasn't spoken about unless we were like there, like we were confining it to that time. So, and then we realized what was going on.
So this past summer, we realized that we like had been pursuing Jesus on our own, but then like just not talking about it, like such a big part of our lives, and then just like leaving it out when we were together. Doesn't really add up. So then we decided to start like meeting, if you will, weekly to just talk about Jesus and just talk about like how's that going in our life, reading the Bible together, etc. But then again, we were confining it to that space because we were like, this is new, like I don't know what we're doing. But as like we became closer to Jesus and like knew Jesus more, it began to like overflow into our friendship. But I mean, not perfect. Like sometimes we do confine still.
Was it weird to talk about Jesus the first time? Did you find it weird?
It was hard to get started.
Yeah, it was hard to like realize and like decide what we were gonna do. Like what are we supposed to do? Like no one ever teaches us how
no
to.
one ever taught us how to do that.
So do you think it was a personal thing that you were like, I don't know how to even talk about God, or was it more like the Bible study? Like you didn't know what to talk about or where to go, or...
Yeah. I think it was kind of a mix of both. We were like, we don't know like how to do this, and then we also like don't know what to do with it, like combined. So we had to like figure everything out. But
so what do you guys do now that you meet? Like what is something that you guys do together to talk about Jesus?
Well, we like hang out very often. Like every week, since we're neighbors, we just walk right over. But like every weekend we hang out, and like during the Lent time, we're both like doing the similar thing for Lent. So a lot of times we'll talk about that, and that just carries through our week because it's something we have to do every day. So like we're talking like, how is your Lent today? Not so
And
good,
you guys
really
also
good.
do that Bible study
Right,
every Monday.
right.
So you
Yes.
do go through like scripture and everything
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
Which is probably really cool because you can do
Yeah.
that with someone.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've been talking a little bit about friendships and God-centered friendships, and we were talking about how we always talk about relationships and how they need to be God-centered, but no one really talks about friendships and how that is just as important, because I believe the statement, you are who you surround yourself with, is true. But I wanted to ask you guys, do you believe in that statement and why?
Yes, I really believe in that statement, but like sometimes it's hard because I still find myself surrounding myself sometimes with the wrong people. But I think like it really carries over, like the same thing with if you get to know God, like you become more like him. We say that all the time.
Yeah, it starts to become an overflow.
And you don't
Yeah.
like realize it a lot of the time, like how wisdom grows over time,
Yeah.
like in your faith. So does like this, it kind of accumulates and you don't realize it because it's little by little. But
So I wanted to talk about like both sides. So first, what do you think is a good quality of a friend that you need in order to keep God in the center? Or maybe you see in both of you guys.
I think like a friend that will be like honest with you and like genuinely hold you accountable and not just be like, oh, like I'm hanging out with these people like 5 days a week and I'm like, oh, okay. But like if they're like not the right type of people, like someone that would be like, if I was doing that, I would want Catrionia to be honest with me and be like, Monica,
Like, call you
probably
out.
shouldn't be hanging out with this people
Yeah.
so
Right.
often, like maybe once a month max. So I think honesty or like accountability is really important.
That's true. Anything for you?
yeah, I would just say like similar like activities that you do, because like we go to the gathering together and it's hard if you're like not in the same grade or like obviously if you don't follow Jesus, and that's like what we're trying to talk about here, that would be a little rough. So yeah.
Okay, so on the flip side, have you ever surrounded yourself with people that weren't as good for you? And how did you like break off from that, or have you had to go through something like that?
No, never.
Just kidding. No, I said this earlier with
Yes.
Melody, but like I recently kind of like came to God. So like before I was definitely with people that like I shouldn't have been friends with, but I was kind of in the same boat as them. So I didn't like realize it was the wrong thing. But like currently I'm still kind of trying to like step away from some people that like it's an ongoing struggle, because like once you become friends with someone and you like form a bond, it's really hard to break that. But sometimes you like just have to like you have to.
When do you think that line has to be drawn? Because I mean, we talk about there's so many people that we need to be friends with as Christians. That's our call, to make disciples of
Right.
many nations, to spread the gospel, and we can't do that if we're not talking with people that don't know Him. So where do you think you find that line and how to draw it before you start getting influenced by them?
I mean, I think like back to what we were talking about, like you are who you surround yourself with. Like when you start seeing yourself, or like somebody else calls you out, and like you see yourself becoming more like them, then you are becoming more like Jesus. I think that's where the line needs to be drawn, because it's like, because obviously like you can't confine yourself to like only Christian friends, only because like what you're saying, like we're literally called to like tell people about Jesus. So how are we supposed to do that if we're like so closed off? So I think the line is like when you're kind of like becoming more like them than you are, or like then you are like Jesus.
Yeah. Like once you like have done pretty much everything you can to share God with them, and like nothing's happening for them, like they're influencing you badly, when it turns into that, you think you have to step away.
Yeah, when they're influencing you more than you're influencing
Right.
them.
Yeah, I want to talk about one more thing, because I said this to you guys multiple times, but in Christian friendships, I don't really find myself being drawn to really, really horrible things, like any type of like parties or things that I shouldn't do. But one thing that I find a lot of friendships can get into is gossip, and I think that's we don't want to spend too much time on it. But what is something that you feel you can shield yourself from, like being able to trust someone and open up to them, but not gossip for yourself and when someone's doing it to you?
Like what is something we can do to stop them?
Yes,
from, like,
or even
gossiping
yourself,
with us?
like from
Yeah.
spreading gossip.
Something I try to do, like with gossip specifically, is like I always try to say something good about the person, or like kind of shift the perspective. And if they're really close with me, I'm gonna be like, I don't think we should be talking like this about this person. Like I only want to be saying positive things about people.
Which kind of
Or
goes
not
back
talking.
to your honesty thing, where you find, I think, you know when you found a good friend, when they're willing to say, actually, no, I don't want to get into this. I want to praise the Lord in all of our conversations and everything we do.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's a good quality
Yeah.
to find in a friend. How about you?
I think with like gossip and like, cause like trying to like talk to someone, cause like maybe you're having a little issue with someone. Like I don't think it's like you have to keep that bottled up inside,
Right,
but it's
right.
hard to find that line between gossiping and just like being like, hey, this is hard. So I think it's like all about the intentions. Like you've gotta have good intentions.
It's true.
Of like, I'm saying this because it's just really been bothering me, and like I just want to like tell you I want your advice on this, instead of being like, this person did this, and like I don't know. You gotta have
The right
intentions.
Yes.
I think it's also how many times it's brought up.
Yeah.
Because the more it's brought up, the more emotions are
Yeah,
building, and you
right.
start talking out of
True.
emotions than just facts, and like it starts getting more heated than not.
Yeah,
And
true.
sometimes, I mean, I think for myself, when I talk to someone, I want to know, am I just wanting to talk to them for a reaction, for me
Yeah.
to feel better?
Right.
Or do I actually want to talk with them so that I can get wisdom and guidance on
Right.
what to do next?
Right.
Because I think there's a lot of times where I go to someone and I want them to react with me. I want them to be mad because this person hurt me,
Yeah.
you know? And that's when it can get dangerous because
Yeah.
it's all on emotion and it's not really about how can I keep God in the center.
Yeah.
So, last but not least, I wanted to ask, do you guys have practical ways of always keeping God in the center?
I mean, I think just being like willing is really important, because like willing to like put God in the center if he's not there already, or willing to like mess up even, because like it's like what we were saying, like we even once we just like realized like we were just keeping our like faith walks so separate, like even once that we still confined it to those like times or meetings, like being willing to like change and not be like we have to meet once a week and that is it,
Yeah.
but being willing to like bring that into other parts of your life, and like just willing to try some new things out.
Yeah. I think also being willing to be vulnerable and like make the changes, because I think it's all about like communication as the same in a relationship. Like someone just has to bring up God, like it just has to be done. And like if you're like, maybe this person doesn't want to talk about God, they're probably feeling the same way. If you're like in the similar spot in your faith, like they're probably like, man, we should probably be talking about this. Someone just has to say it.
Yeah.
And I think it will just start to carry over once again. It'll overflow if you continue to do
That's really good. Thank you guys so much for sharing about your friendship and the Lord. I had so much fun. I hope you guys can tune in next Monday where we'll talk about something grand, I'm sure. Alrighty, peace out. See you later.